All right, I'm going to show you guys how to use header files and other CPP implementation files inside of your project in VS Code. So before we get started, the first thing you want to do is go to extensions and find this extension called C/CPC plus runner. And it's make sure it's the one by Frantic94. This basically allows you to compile and debug multiple C++ files with ease, as it says in the description here. And then once you go ahead and install that, I'm going to open up my own folder that I have here. So I have a program here that's exactly the same as the 9.1 exercise that I did in the last video here. This is the folder that I named practice. As you can see, I open it here. We have main.cpp. We have a rectangle .cpp, and then a rectangle header file with the rectangle class in it. So if you remember back in the last video, we made a class called rectangle and we added two constructors here. We added a getter function for the width, a setter function for the width, a getter function for the height, a setter function for the height, a get area function, and a parameter function. And of course, we had it defined with all the logic and stuff like that. But that's not what this tutorial is about. I just want to show you guys how you can have multiple files here and compile them in Visual Studio Code. So like I said, you do need that extension that I showed you guys. But once you have your files set up, you have your main, you have your header, you have your CPP. All you have to do is just go all the way down here with these little icons right here. And then you press the gear button here where it says start compilation. And then just let that run. And then it will say terminal will be used by test. That's how you know that the compilation is done. And then you can run your code by pressing the play button here. And as you can see, it works. It shows us the width, height, area, perimeter of both rectangles. Now, what I just did here, if you guys are confused, basically, instead of putting all this stuff in one main.cpp file, I split them up so that the code is a little bit more organized and readable. Here we have our main function where all the function calls and displays are going out, where, I show the properties of the rectangle and I construct the rectangle. This is the header file. This is where the class is basically defined. See, I have a class rectangle, I have my data fields, and then I have my function declarations, and then we have the CPP file, the function implementation file, basically. Here we included the header file as we should, and then we have the constructor for height 1, width 1, and then we have the constructor with parameters. Then we have our get and set functions, as well as the calculate area and perimeter functions. These are the function definitions, and these are the function declarations. That is the difference between the header file and the CPP implementation file. These all come together to make our main function here compilable. And like I said, once again, you just hit the gear function, the gear button here. Once it says terminal will be used, that's how you know it's done. Then you run it with the play button that's down here. And that's how you run a program with header files in it. So that's just a quick little tutorial for you guys when using Visual Studio Code and C++. Once again, make sure you have this extension installed before you get started.